So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Technically
Happy Monday.
smooth.
Woo!
We've got
I'm so
dancers.
excited.
We're smooth as silk.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like your hair. Oh, sorry. It's not Friday.
No.
It's Monday, ladies and
It is
gentlemen.
Musical
It is Musical Monday
Monday.
here on the Bob Doyle. Hey, speaking of music, you want to bring it down a couple of notches so they can hear my voice? That's what people came here for. My voice and Tracy's voice blended together in harmony, singing one of the world's most popular songs. It's the theme to this show, and it goes something like this. It's the Bob Doyle Show.
I'm gonna let him sing since he's singing.
No, they came for the blend.
Oh.
It's-
One more time.
It's the Bob Doyle Show. And the great thing is we're not in sync with the music because we hear it before they do, so there's like a delay. We're either a little before, a little thereafter.
That's just fantastic.
Yep.
I love
it. And I love
Yay.
sharing the behind-the-scenes information with the people who have joined us in the room. People such as Cher and
Yes.
Share and Share alike.
And where's the
Oh,
comments?
that's going to leave a mark. Well, we used our iPad last night as a menu for ordering
Is it downstairs?
pizza. It is. It's on the, but it's probably dead, so we'll have to plug it in, and that'll take a second.
Why don't
And
you
here I started the
entertain
show
everyone?
going...
Yes, okay. You entertain everyone. I'll be right back because we can't read comments and see.
Tracy, look, there may have been a time years ago when I could do this show by myself, when I didn't need a partner sitting by my side, giving me the confidence I needed to come up with word after word after word, when something else was planned entirely. We should be talking to Steve. Now look, if it weren't Steve in the room right now, I would not be doing this. I would bring him on and that would just be it. But look, number one, we got all kinds of time. What do you got to do today? Susan, you got this to do. Jaxie, right? Everybody, this is it. This is your plan. So you may as well draw it out, right? With a little suspense and a little technical. But the thing about this one was I was really feeling good about how technically smooth the show opened.
Yes.
Look, Victoria's watching. Victoria.
Hi, good morning.
All right, any minute now,
that's
I'll have my act together. Speaking of acts, we're talking about music today because, of
Oh,
course,
I'm
it
so
is
excited, you guys.
Musical Monday. And let's hear it for that while I continue to delay. Are you kidding me with this? Hold on just 1 second. I have to find... There we go. All right.
Okay, we're good?
We're going to be good.
Okay, good.
Sorry, ladies and germs, but I guess that's just how things roll around here because I seem to do it all the time. So,
Okay.
today, Musical Monday. It's what was that?
My phone.
Okay, just as long as it wasn't. Oh wait, we can't start yet. Sorry, Steve. We have to ring the bell for coffee before we are legally allowed to
drink it.
Otherwise, the FCC finds us, and it's just the paperwork alone. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen?
Uh-huh.
I like getting validation from her. It makes me feel... I feel like this pillow is out of place. It feels like grandma's pillow in an otherwise lush... What's all this? What's this
It's a
pillow?
puppy.
Look at this pillow.
That's a
This pillow
puppy.
needs a bath.
Yes, this pillow's getting a bath today.
Sorry. Steve, I'm really sorry. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special...
I'm so excited. I've said that like 4 or 5 times now.
Yes, it's true. Because Steve is not just some musician we pulled out of the atmosphere.
No, he's a friend that I've been begging to get on the show for a while now.
Because as you'll learn, he's such a natural to be a part of the Musical Monday endeavor, true spirit of what it is all about. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
let's not delay anymore. Let's welcome all the way from New Orleans, Louisiana, Steve Witschel.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Uh-oh, we can't hear
we
you.
can't hear you. Nope. Okay.
Da-da-da. See, he knows how to do
Good
the Bob
morning.
Wills show.
How are you?
There you go.
Good. How are you?
All right, hold
I
on.
had
Let me
myself muted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're going to turn you up a little bit. So welcome, Steve. Now, this is not Steve's first time on the other side of this screen. He has sat in that square many a time. We have known each other for a number of years, haven't we, Steve?
Yeah, I'd say about 3 years.
Come on,
I
it's
think.
more than that.
4?
Steve.
What?
Steve and I connected back at least in 2013 or so. But then But then we started doing more work together in the coaching capacity and all this stuff. And I am so excited about what Steve is up to. As we probably put in the description, he's the founder of Cover Band Central, which is a group on Facebook that we're going to talk about. Really super excited about, and I hope will be a future source of lots of musicians that we will share here on Musical Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. The description, by the way, is for Friday's show that you put up.
What?
The description is for Friday's show.
Oh, the description of this show. Yes, this broadcast. I was talking about what Tracy posted, but you're right, Steve, because on top of all the pride I took in the smooth launch of the show, I never did change the description of the show as it's being broadcast. So you're right. So it does say luscious living
So
or whatever it
is what you're
yes,
saying.
we just have to go back and change
Which is going to confuse the CBC audience. But
if we, hopefully,
Can we do it now?
yeah. So
Momentary. Keep
yeah.
talking.
So, well, Steve, we've got some, as we ask of all of our musicians, we have, you send video clips of some performances that you'd like to share. So now what we need to share about you is that you are a bass player.
yes.
So your clips involve you being, yes, and you've got a 5-stringer back there.
I know. I'm like, and I want to know, like, how did you get into music and your whole story?
And that's what we want to talk about.
Yes.
Leading up to this first clip a little bit. We normally kind of format this a little bit different, but because of the nature of the clips, and even different than what we talked about before the interview,
Because it's you and you're special.
I want you to bring us up to speed. So we've got a few clips from like the late '80s and such, okay, that you sent us. So we have to think about what music was in that time and all of that. But talk a little bit about just how you got into music and how you like bring us up to those first set of clips that we're going to see.
Okay, sure. I've been a music fan my entire life. As far back as I can remember, I loved listening to music. And about, I was around 15 years old, and I had two friends that I hung out with, and we listened to music all the time, and we played sports together and stuff, Kevin and Mike. And Mike had a drum set, and that was like a big deal. Like, he had a real drum set. And he could kind of play it pretty good. And then Kevin got a guitar, and they started kind of hanging out and jamming, just drums and guitar. And I was like, you know, these are my friends. I was kind of feeling left out. I'm like, well, I want to be part of this. And so I went to, and Mike, the drummer, said, well, get a bass. I said, okay. So I went to my mom and said, Mom, I want a bass. And she said, get at least B's in all your classes in your next marking period in school.
The grade boy.
Oh yeah, and get a job. And,
even better.
And I'll pay for half. I was very eager, so I said, okay, I'll do it. So I did it. I got good grades, and I got a job at like a pizza place washing dishes or something, and went and got a bass. And I immediately started by taking private lessons, and I signed up for a music theory class in school, and then I started jamming with my friends. So I had this education right in the beginning from all three sides of you know, getting the theory knowledge, getting the one-on-one teaching of how to actually play the instrument, and then just goofing around with my friends, which was invaluable, really. I don't know what that was.
Sorry, we had a technical glitch on this end with the mixer. All is well. Please continue.
Okay. So yeah, that was an invaluable experience. So I started, eventually we put a band together, and we didn't really, you know, we were kids, so we didn't really have real shows or real gigs. But we pretended, you know, we were kind of doing law of attraction stuff without knowing it. And then, you know, I did that for a couple of years in my teens. And then I was in a band after high school, and I didn't send you any videos of this band because I actually have them, but I don't have them digitally. But it was a band called Exire, and I was about 19, and we became one of the biggest original bands in North Jersey. North New Jersey is where I lived. And I mean, we opened for the national acts that were coming through. We played like the big clubs. We packed. We were on the radio. And the singer actually of that band went on to be very, very successful. So that band lasted a few years, and then after that, which is the first video you're going to show, is a band called Little Sister, and the singer of that band is Janet, and she's somebody I met while I was in Exile. And Little Sister, again, one of the bigger bands in North Jersey, original bands. We were like hot on the scene. We were playing the big clubs. We were opening for national acts, and that band was extremely well rehearsed, and the songs were real good. Janet, the singer, was the songwriter, and we worked our butts off. And still to this day, I look back on that, and the clip you're going to show is from 1989, so that's 31 years ago.
Yes.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that clip is from a club called Studio One. It was in Newark, New Jersey. And it was a packed room, and this was our opening song. It was kind of our theme song for the band.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a minute or two of that, and then we're going to transition to a couple of other clips that you shared of your early stuff. So this is all VHS stuff, and one of the things that people will notice, despite VHS quality video and all of it, is a lot of hair flying around. That part you will definitely, and I think all of these clips feature a fair amount of hair.
Yes, I am on the left to the viewer, so you will see my hair flying around.
Yeah, here we go right now.
Crazy love it, huh? Yeah.
be two of us on the screen. Oh, look, we're over here
I
in the corner.
love it.
Oh, this is a fun way to do it. Hi, where is he? Hi, Steve. You look huge up there. How's it going? That was really
Right,
good.
I know. I was like,
No, we're on the other side. There we go. Oh, hey, no, my hair. I crushed my head. All right, hold
know
on.
how
Let's
you did that. That was
let's
funny.
fix this. Let's fix this. All right. Sorry.
Oh
So
my
yes,
God,
a
I
lot
love
of
it.
hair there.
I love it. I mean, I had the big '80s hair too. I actually thought about doing that this morning, which like just massive hairspray or whatever.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would be great. Get some Aquanet. Yeah,
Yes,
use it
exactly.
Last minute, I said,
Sure.
"Oh, we should have."
I
And
know. I was like, I have blue eyeliner and and mascara and anyway, whatever.
so that last clip there was a pool party. Now what?
That's
And so I assume you were looking at the screen. You were like on our far right. You were on the left of the screen with the baseball cap on.
I was on. If you're looking at the screen, I was on the right of the
Yeah.
screen,
Yeah.
so I was on the stage left.
Yeah.
But let me back up to the one in the middle.
Okay.
Yes.
That was a Led Zeppelin tribute band that I played with from New Jersey, and we played a lot of big shows. That one in particular was in Chillicothe, Ohio, and it was like a biker rally, something, whatever, festival, and it was like 4,000 or 5,000 people. So that was a big stage and a very responsive crowd, and Led Zeppelin for me was one of the biggest bands, one of my biggest influences growing up, and one of my biggest influences playing bass. So to get that gig was really awesome. It was
sure.
a really fun experience. And we did a Hard Rock Cafe tour in 2005. So we went to. I actually have the poster right in front of me, so I could tell you where we played in Detroit, in Boston, Pittsburgh, Niagara Falls. We actually played Niagara Falls on the U.S. side. We got done with the gig, packed up, started driving to Minneapolis, and played the next night in Minnesota. And then from there, we played in Chicago, which was crazy. Just 3 nights in a row driving, that much driving. You think it's all glamorous and stuff, the rock life, but you spend most of it.
That does not sound
No,
glamorous
that
at
does
all.
not. It sounds exhausting.
It was exhausting. Yeah, just really, it was crazy how we were treated by people, by people that worked at venues and stuff. It was, we were almost treated like we were Led Zeppelin.
Right.
You know, and I mean, because we were just these schlubs playing in a tribute band. But like one of the shows, it was in New York. It was a very similar show to the one on the video, but different crowd. And the crowds at the Zeppelin shows, or at the Kashmir was the name of the band, ranged from 60, 65-year-old guys down to 5-year-old kids. It was.
Wow.
It was interesting. You see a little like 6, 7-year-old girl with a Led Zeppelin shirt on, and like, what is going on here? But this one show in New York, we went and huge stage again, kind of the same thing, like 4,000 or 5,000 people. It was going to be. We did our sound check, went to the hotel, and then as we were coming back to the venue. It's a big festival, so people are walking all over the street, like crossing streets. As we're coming back, cops stopped pedestrian traffic for us to drive through.
That's awesome.
As we were coming back, and I'm like, this is what it's like to be a rock star, I guess.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So that was a really good experience. And then the last one, like you said, the pool thing, it was the club, the name of the band was Outside Now. The club we played as was called the Seashell, and it was in Long Beach Island, New York, or New Jersey, sorry. And it was a 2-hour drive for me to get there, but it was 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 7 o'clock. And we did it all summer. I did it for 2 summers, and that was so much fun because you see the pool in the video, but from our point of view, we could see the pool, and then the other side of the pool, and then on the other side of the pool was just tables and people hanging out. To my left was a big tiki bar, and then beyond that was the beach, and then beyond that was the Atlantic Ocean. So my view was of everybody, in bathing suits and stuff, and the beach and the ocean. That's what I could see from my point of view,
Wow.
which was just I was just so much fun. It was because I love the beach. I love being outside during the summer, and to get paid for it and play music. Okay, I'll take that gig any day.
For 2 summers, absolutely.
You must have been
Yeah,
thinking, well, I did it.
Yeah. I mean, right.
kind of. And the band themselves were great players and great people. It was actually a little challenging for me to go into that because of the quality of musicianship that was in that band. So I had to really kind of step up my game for that gig.
Perfect. Life gives you that.
But I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I did. I got it done.
So so the next clip I want to kind of place a chronology because what I want to do in your story is get you to New Orleans. But this next
Okay.
clip, the Runaway clip, where is this in the story? This is pre New Orleans, right? Or is it?
It is a it's really kind of post New Orleans. The band, the artist is Jared Fink, and it's original music, and it's a great story if you don't mind me
Yeah,
taking the
please
time
do.
to tell
Yeah.
the story. Um, and this kind of ties into you and all the LOA stuff you've done. I was working. The Secret came out,
Heard of it?
and
Yeah.
it came out on like a video kind of thing first before it was out on DVD, before the book was out. And I was on somebody's mailing list, and I got it and I watched it, and I was like, it immediately resonated with me. I was like, this is the truth, this is the deal. And very soon after that, I was working for Borders Books, and I was a store manager for a Walden bookstore, and that's when the book The Secret came out. And then after that, I was working for one of the Borders superstores. I was an inventory manager, and that's when The Secret was blowing up. We were getting cases of just The Secret
Oh my God.
in the store, and it was this huge store. I was an inventory manager, and it was really when that business was starting on the decline, and I was privy to the numbers in the industry and what was going on, and I really kind of foresaw that was going to go down. It's when Amazon started really picking up speed, when ebooks and like Kindle and that kind of stuff was starting to get more popular, and I really hated the job. They had to really cut labor because we weren't making. The business wasn't making as much money, so I wasn't able to really get my job done as an inventory manager. And I spent half of my workday every day literally cleaning up the store, just walking around, picking up coffee cups, picking up magazines, putting them back where they go. And I really couldn't get my job done, and I hated it. I was so miserable. And then store managers changed, and this woman came in, and she had only been there for maybe a couple weeks, and inventory was coming up, which if anybody out there has ever worked in retail, is the worst possible experience you'll ever have in your
Ever.
life.
I've done it in bookstore.
Yep.
So I know.
Oh, it's horrible. It's just because you're overnight, you have to have this company coming in, and you have to check and make sure that so inventory was coming up, and I was dreading it. I was like, I don't want to do this. So this store manager kind of picked up on what I was, throwing out there. And we sat in her office for 2 hours, and I talked about The Secret, and I talked about what I really want in my life is to play music for a living. That's what I've always wanted. And I kind of did it for a little bit with that Zeppelin band. And for a year or so, I was with them, and I was with like 3 other bands at the time. I was playing a lot, and I was able to make a living. But then I had to go back and get a real job for Borders. But I sat in the office with her for 2 hours, and she understood The Secret. She understood the whole deal. And I was like, I just don't want to work here anymore. And she's like, so you want to quit? And I said, yeah. And she goes, now? And I said, yeah. Wow. So I gave no notice, and this was late 2007. And I said, yeah, that's it, I'm leaving. And I said my goodbyes and went out, and I kind of was like, what the heck did I just do?
Sure.
Because I was making good money. I was, I had my 401k, I had my benefits, blah, blah, blah. But I was really intent on, I want to play music for a living. That is and there's got to be a way.
Yeah.
So I just went and I just started kind of making phone calls to some people that I knew and putting it out there. And I got from my friend Steve Brown, who was you guys aren't big '80s music. Maybe Tracy is, but there's a band called Trickster who was relatively popular in the late '80s, and they're from New Jersey. And they toured, like they had a gold album. They toured. They opened for Kiss, and they opened for like huge bands. And he was a friend of mine, so I reached out to him, and he hooked me up with this manager who was looking to hire a bass player for a couple of tours for 2008. And without hearing me, without seeing any video of me or anything, he gave me the job just based on this guy Steve Brown's recommendation.
Wow.
Awesome.
So he sent me contracts, and it was all legit. It was all on the up and up, and we were paid well. We were given per diem, which is basically a daily allowance of money for food and drinks and things like that. And so I did, in early 2008, I did a tour for a month with this guy, John Jones, who was from Los Angeles. And I recruited a friend of mine on guitar for that gig. And we flew out to LA, and we were there for like 3 or 4 days rehearsing and just basking in Los Angeles. It was like, we've reached utopia here. It's beautiful. And we went out on tour for about a month, and just driving in a van, driving around the country. And that was fun. And so that kind of got my feet wet. And then in the fall, I guess we started in September. Yeah, I hooked up with this guy, Jared. And nobody knew each other. We met in Jersey. It was a 5-piece band in total. None of us knew each other. We were from all over the country. We met and rehearsed for 2 or 3 days, and then went out on the road. And let me tell you, man, you really get to know somebody when you spend 2 months with them in a van.
Let's try that.
Let's try that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And fortunately, 4 of the 5 of us got along really well. And to this day, we still are very good friends and talk a lot. And I love traveling. I love seeing new places, meeting new people. And I got to basically go in almost every state except for Hawaii, Alaska, Maine, and West Virginia. Those are the 4 states I've never been to.
Jeez, that's impressive.
But we did a 2-month tour, 40 shows, and drove all around the country, and just had a blast. It was really one of the best times of my life. And so following that was 2008. Following that, I ended up moving to New Orleans, which is a whole big story in itself. But we did some subsequent mini tours with Jared. So it wasn't the big 2-month 40 shit. And the video that you're going to show is a compilation of 2 shows. It was so I'm going to say it was 2010. 2010 to 2011, maybe even, probably 2011. One of the shows was at a place called Steelworks in Pennsylvania, around Pittsburgh, and the other one was, I forget the name of the place, but it was in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And we had big film crew, everything, and they shot both of the shows and then kind of combined clips to make this video.
Well, it's a really nice piece and very different than our openers. So, and very different than our closer will be. So stay tuned.
I love the versatility.
Somebody
Somebody actually commented, how versatile you are, which is really, speaks to your talent because you can play.
Oh, thank you.
Anything,
All right, well, let's check out this nice piece. It's Jared Fink with Steve on the bass, a nice little piece called Runaway.
Yep.
Walls are caving in to the empty sound of a lost feeling. Oh, didn't wanna be this. I didn't wanna feel so left behind. 'Cause when my world stopped turning, I saw no reason to run away.
That. Oh, hey,
Turn
can
up.
you hear me? I love that.
Yeah, that's a nice track, no question.
Yeah, a great song. That was his first record, and the whole record's really good.
So, for those
really
of you
enjoyed
that, so here's why you go back and you watch that again. Watch the guitar player and watch the guy with the shaker and watch the emblems on their shirts turn on and off depending on the clip. I was watching,
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, this is two different performances. Will we be able to tell the clothes
That's
change?
so funny. I
So
didn't
it's-
even catch it.
Ah.
It's those little things that you need to pay attention to when you're
That's
doing music videos, which we obviously didn't.
But it was, other than that, it was pretty smooth, but I got a big kick out of spotting that. And there's probably more.
Yeah,
I
and my hair
was-
was horrible. I really needed a stylist for that, and my hair was a mess. So.
Isn't that just how bassists do, man? Hey, I don't care. Isn't that
No,
how it is?
I guess.
All right, okay, so what I really want to get to now is New Orleans, and but more specifically Cover Band Central and what drives that. Because what you did when we really started talking, you had already established it. It had, I don't know, thousands, like tens of thousands, maybe. It was up there
Yeah.
in terms of the people.
Yeah.
You had built something really incredible, and I want to get back to, of course, the origin of that. And now, of course, I don't even know what it's at, but I remember when it crossed the 100K mark, and that was a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
Let's talk about how, whatever experience has culminated in you creating Cover Band Central. And I don't want to forget to bring this up because Cher asked, hey, are you going to write a book? And I'm thinking, he already did.
You wrote it. Wait, how did I not know that?
Yeah.
I
He's got a nice
did. I
little-
wrote an ebook, yeah, for musicians called Cover Band Riches, and it's. I think it's still relevant. It's now we're in COVID age, so it's things have changed considerably, but I think there's a lot of good wisdom still in that book.
Yeah, basic principles that withstand the test of time and pandemic.
Yeah. So I would like to, if you'll indulge me, tell the story of how I got to New Orleans, and
Sure.
it's a story. So I don't know how long your show is.
Well,
but-
it's as long as I say it is, Steve.
okay.
We're good.
All you have to do is be 100% interesting. That's it.
Okay.
It just has to be the most fascinating story anyone can possibly. That's the only
No
requirement.
pressure.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good it's a story of perseverance, I think, and that's
Perfect.
something that people enjoy. 2004, I had just gotten laid off from a job. I was running a photo lab. I'm also a little kind of a photographer. I studied in school, and it was a retail store. It was we sold stuff and we developed film and we had a portrait studio, and I worked there for like 3 or 4 years. And this is when the digital cameras started coming more in vogue and fewer people were developing film. So I got laid off because I was making too much money for the money the company was making. So that was kind of like my first foray into where, all right, I really want to find a way to make music for a living. So I put an ad out on, this was pre-Facebook. I just put an ad out on, it was 2004, on a music classified site, and I got contacted by this guy from Minnesota, and he's like, come to Minnesota and play in this cover band. We got all these gigs and blah, 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 and he really hyped it up. And I was extremely skeptical, and I talked to him on the phone like 3 or 4 times, and I was still very skeptical, but I had some money saved. I didn't have any real other obligations, so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go do this. So I rented a car, took the stuff that I thought I would need, and drove to Minnesota. It was this little town. I can't remember the name of the town. Barnum, Minnesota. It was small. I mean, it was so small that like the post office and the cop station and a liquor store were all one building, which was bizarre. But it was, again, people recruited from all over the country, this guy did, and we rehearsed a bunch and we played some, but it turned out that the gigs that this guy had promised weren't real. He kind of shystered us, but it still was a lot of good musicians involved in it. And after about 5 or 6 weeks, we all kind of bailed, and I came back to Jersey. And one of the guys, the guitar player, moved to New Orleans, and he started playing in New Orleans. And then he was, in New Orleans, there's a constant turnover of musicians. It happens all the time where people need subs or people just leave or whatever. And he told this one guy about me, that when they were looking for a bass player, and the guy contacted me, and it was I think it was post Katrina. Katrina was 2005. So, and he said, why don't you come down? We got an opening. Why don't you come down here and play? And I was like, I can't just, at that point I had a job, I had a girlfriend, I had other bands I was playing in. I was like, I can't just pick up and move to New Orleans. So I said no. And then a couple of years later, I ended up visiting, my family was living in Mobile, Alabama, and I was visiting there, and then came to New Orleans for the first time ever in my life, and met the guy and saw my friend who I had played with in Minnesota, and checked out the scene. I was like, all right, this is cool. But at that point, there was no intention for me to come and play. And then a couple more times over the next few years, that guy contacted me, and he would say, like, oh, there's an opening and I want to have you come play. And I'd always be like, no. And then the last time in 2010, he called me, and I still have this voicemail on my phone.
Oh my
Oh, I
God.
love that.
It marked a significant change in my life. And he said, there's this club that might be opening, and I'm going to put together a new band, and I want you to be the bass player. And again, my first inclination was, I can't do that. And then at the time, I was working for Home Depot. I was working at 6 o'clock in the morning till 2:30. And anybody musician knows that that's not a musician's time, 6 o'clock in the morning, usually asleep. I was doing that. I was playing in 2 different cover bands, not a lot, and I was teaching private lessons. And I was driving. I was twice a week, 2 different students, and I was driving like an hour for each student to go teach. And when I got that call, I was driving to a lesson, and it was just the voicemail, and I was like, I can't do that. And then I'm driving home from the lesson, and it just occurred to me, I'm like, why do I keep saying no to this guy? Why they want me to come and play? Why do I keep saying no? And I kind of just sort of looked around my life. I'm like, what do I have here? What do I really have here that I don't want to leave? And I couldn't come up with anything. So I was like, all right, let me try this. And I kept in touch with him over the course of the next couple of weeks, saying, because he didn't know when this club was opening. So I kept saying, is the club opening? Is it opening? And he's like, oh, I don't know yet. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take a chance, and I'm going to go. So I put my 2 weeks notice in Home Depot. I threw a party for myself, a going away party. And I invited everybody I knew. I was like, I'm throwing a going away party,
I love it.
and I'm gonna go to New Orleans, and I'm never coming back. And I was happy about it. I was excited. I was like, this is a big life change. It's something I'm gonna do. And so I did. I made the plans, and I got a truck, packed up all my stuff, got a tow for my car. I had a cat at the time. I had the cat in with me in the cab, just like sitting on my lap as I was driving all the way down south. Went to Mobile first, where my mother was, and spent a couple days there. And then on the Saturday night that was coming after my trip, I said, I'm going to go into New Orleans and just see what's going on, because I still had no confirmation of anything, of no job, nothing. And my brother was living around there, so I said, hey, do you want to come with me and we'll go to New Orleans? And he's like, yeah. So we just drove on a Saturday, and I told the guy, I'm going to come, because he was playing in a band already, and I said, I'm going to come in tonight and come see your band. And he's like, all right, cool. So we got there in the afternoon, and we're just bouncing around New Orleans, got something to eat, and just checking stuff out. Around 8 o'clock, the guy from that band calls me, and he goes, dude, can you come play tonight? My singer got in a minor car accident. She's not going to be able to make it. My bass player is going to sing. Can you come play? And this is I mean, I have nothing with me. I have no bass, no nothing. And I was like, yeah, I'll go play. And I was thrilled. I mean, I was literally running down Bourbon Street, jumping up and down, excited as hell to go play in. I'm hey, music, wow. So I get to the club, I'm just all smiles, and again, I didn't know anybody. Like this guy that was trying to get me to come down, I didn't really know him, you know, a guitar player. So I go and the bass player that would normally play, he let me use his bass, his rig, and I got up on stage and they said, "Do you know this song?" I was like, "Yeah." And it went on that all night. There was like maybe 2 or 3 songs they asked me to play that I didn't know, and after a while they stopped asking me if I knew the song. They just would start the song, and I was and it's just from my years of playing in cover bands and just years of being a music fan that I knew a lot of this material. So my very first night in New Orleans, I played all night, and then I got a job as a result. I got hired for that band as a result of that night. Right?
Oh, that's an incredible story. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Freaking love it.
Yeah. So, and that was 10 years ago. It was 2010. So I've been here for 10 years.
Wow. Well, that is great. So tell it, but let's get to Cover Band Central, because I mean, there's obviously you got a wealth of stories, but you know, we want to get. I knew you got your product placement very good. I wish I had mine, but I was ill prepared.
That's all right.
Okay. Yeah. So in New Orleans, like I said, things change a lot all the time. Clubs close, management changes, band members come and go, and so I've played in 6 or 7 different clubs on Bourbon Street. Played with musicians. I've played in the 10 years here in the ballpark of 2,000 shows.
Wow.
On Bourbon Street. Yeah.
Wow.
I've been bouncing around a little bit, and there was a point when I had only been there for a couple of years, and I remember this specifically. I was on stage, and a packed room, and I'm getting paid pretty well to play, and I'm with these guys who are amazing players, and I remember I'm just sitting there playing, and I'm thinking to myself, what were the things I did right to get to this point? And I don't mean like take lessons, learn music theory. I mean like the little life things. What did I do right to get to this point? I want to know that. So, and that idea kept kind of coming back to my mind, like I need to write these things down or something, and I didn't, but the idea just kept popping up. Then a year or so later, I was playing in a club, and the club closed, and we were out of a job. And at the time, I was just renting a room from my singer's house. I didn't really have much here. So the club closed, and I didn't have another job. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go to Mobile for a little while, where my mom was, and just stay with her and just, see what shakes out. And as it turned out, and she told me this a couple of days later, I went to Mobile and said, "Mom, I'm going to stay here." And her health had started to fail a little bit prior to that. And she was living alone. She had a dog, Butler. You remember Butler, right?
Yes.
And she was just like sitting there a couple of days prior thinking like, oh, what am I going to do? I can't. She was having trouble walking, and she was upset. And then I walked through the door. And I said, "Mom, I'm going to stay here for a while." So I ended up kind of living there in that house for about a year and taking care of her, making, doing her shopping, making her food, making dinner every night. And I was playing still. I can't stop. It's just like I always have to play. So I found some work in Mobile locally, and I was playing a little bit here and there. I was still doing some sub work in New Orleans, so I was driving. It was about a 2-hour drive. And there was another gig that I got in Homa, which is like the bayou of Louisiana. It's like the swamp area. about a 3-hour drive from Mobile, and I was driving back and forth every once in a while doing that. But staying at my mom's, I had a lot of free time. So I was like, I should sit down and write that thing that I've been thinking about, like what got me to this point. So I just started writing, and I always had been kind of fancied myself a little bit of a writer, and so I really constructed an article that I thought conveyed to me what the important things that made me successful, and they weren't conventional things. There were things like, make sure you thank everybody, make sure you pick up after yourself, treat it like a job, and I came up with a list of 16 different things that I thought were essential to being successful, because talented players are a dime a dozen. You have to. There's a lot more to it than just being good at your craft. You have to be a good person. There's a lot to it. So I made this list, and I wrote a whole article about it, and I wrote it on the site called Hub Pages, which you can make a little money from, if people read it. Not a lot of money, but I was like, all right, let me try this. It seems cool. And I started sharing it on Facebook, and I have a lot of musician friends, and I was getting a lot of good feedback from it. And I was like, all right, this is cool. And I want to do some more writing, but I want to find the audience that this is really going to resonate with. So I started searching on Facebook for like a group or a page of that group of people, and I couldn't find it. And then I remembered what Jack Canfield said, and I think it was in The Secret, and I think he was quoting somebody else, but he was talking about, if you're looking for a book on something and you can't find it, that means you were meant to write it. So I kind of applied that idea to this. Like, I'm looking for this group on Facebook and it doesn't exist, so I'm going to create it. I'm going to be the one. And I was probably sitting there watching Comedy Central, and I was like, all right, well, what's the name going to be? And I just, all right, Cover Band Central. So I started a Facebook group so I could kind of collect all those people that would want to read my writing, where it would resonate with them. And I created the group, and that worked for a little while. It started growing very, very slowly. And I was like, after several months, I was like, this isn't really quite what I was looking for. So I created the page. And then I did a lot of research on pages on Facebook, like how to make them successful, how to, like, what should your post frequency be, what kind of content, where are you going to get content? And I'm sitting there like creating it, and I'm thinking, how the heck am I going to come out with content every day? How am I going to do it? I have no idea. But I just did it anyway, and then I started just kind of curating memes, curating articles, writing more articles, and it just kind of grew organically from there, because people would share the memes and people would share the articles, and then come and like the page. And like you said, when I started talking to you, it was in the tens of thousands. Now it's at 157,000 people on the page.
It is
a
couple more than me, for sure.
But I mean, somebody said true law of attraction. I mean, like, you've created it, you've done it.
So now you've got this community of musicians supporting each other and so on and so forth. And it's interesting because I know a little bit, of course, what you have to deal with in maintaining that number of people, and musicians, no less. So you've got all sorts of creativity people, you've got various levels of ego going in there, and you've got to manage all of this. And it is, talk about perseverance. I have watched,
kudos.
I have watched what you've had to do and stuff like this. So the commitment that you have to helping these musicians and giving them resources it's pretty amazing. Like
phenomenal.
It's pretty amazing. So if you if you are a musician and you're struggling in any way, I mean, this is such a great support area. And Steve's, like what he was talking about, these things that you don't normally think of, not musical career strategies,
right,
but like life, how to be with people, and who are you going to be in this, and all of that, and really being clear on that. I think that's something that I think we all pick up that Steve has got a handle on.
Yes.
And has been working with people on for
sometimes.
Yes, well, of course, we are all human
Well,
beings.
right, exactly. But
Yeah. But now, so I started the website a couple of years ago, and it's gone through a couple different incarnations. But in I guess it was about 2 weeks ago now, we launched the latest update of it. And what we did was we created a social network for musicians. So coverbandcentral.com, if you go there now, it looks a lot and operates a lot like Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you put a post up, you can like, you can share. And we spent a lot of time during this lockdown, me and my web guy, Jeff Yonker, Chonk is what we call him. And we went through a lot of stuff, a lot of trials here to try to get this set up. And I think the way we have it set up now is really great.
It's nice.
And
I looked at it this morning.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And the challenge is to get people from Facebook over there. So that's what I'm really dealing with now. And at this point, I don't really know exactly how I'm going to do it. But just like everything else that I approach, I'm just kind of diving in and putting the love and passion into it. I think is essential. And then doors open. Things happen. So.
And going forward without having it all figured out.
right.
I mean, that's
Just holding the vision for it and continuing to do that no matter what, and that's the perseverance and everything else that you just.
And I have lofty goals. I want to make this the best website for musicians on the internet.
yeah.
I love it.
And that is exactly the goal you should have.
Yes.
And it's the one you absolutely must have if it's going to happen.
Yes.
So, and
and it is at this point. I'm sorry. At this point, it is the only social network for musicians. There's no other social. Most social networks or the ones that people know are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Nobody has created one for like a specific kind of thing like that until now. So.
Well, it's awesome, and I know it's been a long journey, and again, back with the perseverance and just the commitment to the passion and all of that. So I hope everybody checks all that out. So
excited.
Before we let you go, we have one more. Well, we're going to let you go, and then we're going to show this piece, and then we're going to close out the show. So this video you sent, and we have had the conversation that we agree it is off the charts crazy, and
It is.
I'm excited.
I think you said ridiculous was the word, and
It's a little ridiculous.
yeah, it's a little ridiculous, and very much not what you would expect to see on the Bob Doyle show. And so so I was sitting there contemplating, well, I mean, we've got these other clips. Do I need to show this one? And something inside me said, yes, Bob, you do. And not just a clip. You have to commit. You got to show the whole 4.5 minutes and let Jane and my mom and Cher go, what is happening? Her mom's going to be
It's one of my favorite acting experiences. And
yes.
There's one moment towards the end, where I had to. Yes, and I had to have an expression there, and the director gave us all like you're really surprised that this happened, and nobody committed, but I went for it, and when I saw it back, I was like, wow, that was pretty good.
Yes. So, I guess I should be ready to play the thing. All right. So just
talk about Jay too a little bit too.
What's that?
Go into it. About Jay with the uke.
Oh yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for bringing me back to that.
Yes.
Because when you showed me this clip, I recognized the name, and you had told me about this guy a few years ago because of his involvement with the ukulele. So yeah, set Jay up a bit, and then we'll get into this.
Yeah, Jay is another friend of mine who I got hooked up with through other friends, and it was late. This clip is from 2009, is when we filmed it in Manhattan, and it was an all day thing. I was there at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and left at like 2 o'clock in the morning, because we had to do all these little different scenes, and the actual performance part of it that you see, where I'm playing bass and stuff, that was at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So we had been there all day, and then we did that. But so I played a bunch of local shows with Jay, and we did a little tour too. We called it the Stash Bash because he was into having a mustache and celebrating mustaches. But Jay also he's a big law of attraction guy. He's and most of the people that I played with are too. But he plays a ukulele too, which is a thing that you do,
Yes, I do.
obviously. And he does this charity stuff for children, where he teaches ukulele, and he does some live streams too. So Jay Delaval is somebody you want to check out online if you're something that you're interested in. But Jay is also a very good friend of mine still. I still talk to him. And yeah, you'll see the clip. It's ridiculous, but it was a lot of fun.
Well,
We love ridiculous.
well, so Steve, thank you for sharing an hour with us this morning, and there really are a lot of great lessons in your story.
I know. I want to get your book. Is it available on Amazon, or how do people find it?
No, I'll send you one. I'll send it to you, Tracy.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But how do other people find it?
Go to the website, coverbandcentral.com.
Okay.
There you go.
Sign up for a free profile. It is 100% free. It will always be free. And not only musicians, but I'm really going to market this to music fans. I want people to come on there and see other bands that they like and follow along with them, watch their videos. And anybody in the industry, soundmen, promoters, managers, club owners, photographers, you name it. Anybody that's in the industry, there's something there for them. So coverbandcentral.com, it's the next big thing.
Excellent.
That's,
hey, nice tagline. It's the
Awesome.
next
And I'm
big thing.
totally sharing that. We've got a bunch of, musician friends, so I'll direct them that way. That's awesome.
All right, Steve, thanks so much. All right, we're going to take it out now
Thank
with
you.
Honey, thank you.
Legs.
There you go.
You can kick and punch and scream until the clock says stop. Pay your money and leave. This soiree's over. No more time to tease. What's your poison? Serve it hard and hot so you can get your pleasure any time of night you want. Anytime you want. I can be anybody that you want me to be. Do some things that I guarantee you wouldn't tell your family. You're making piggies cry and scream for dirty feet. You then watch carefully. I'm on fire. Legs are so long, it's crazy. If I ever go too far, you made me. I could sing a song about that, baby. I'm gonna sing it all night long. Vicious kitten, I'm smitten with desire. You got a lot of nerve saying I'm a liar. Turn the volume higher. Let your costume burn. I can hear the sound, the way you like to feel. Put them on the ground, their dignity you steal. I want you to come now. I want you to get down. Legs are so long, it's crazy. If I ever go too far, you made me. I could sing a song about that, baby. I'm gonna sing it all night long. All night long. Gonna sing it all night long. Legs are so long, it's crazy. I could sing a song about that, baby. Gonna sing it all night long. When Monday morning is Sunday is hell, you have no voice, you cannot scream or yell. It's better to be quiet, just like raging flames. Just like raging flames. Legs are so long, it's crazy. If I ever go too far, you made me. I could sing a song about that, baby. I'm gonna sing it all night long. 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 Gonna sing it all so long. It's crazy. Gonna sing it all night long. Gonna sing it all song about that baby. Gonna sing it all night long. Gonna sing it. Legs are so long, it's crazy. I'm gonna sing it. I'm gonna sing it.
I love it. Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. It's the new norm for the Bob Doyle
That's
Show.
a little bit more like a Luscious Friday, but okay.
That's right. That is more of a Friday thing, but hey,
Awesome.
I love when
Thank
the
you,
kids
Steve.
chimed in at the end.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
that was
that
great.
really
All
that
night
really
long.
made it.
Right.
And thanks to all of you who hung
Yes!
with us. You know, it occurred to me as soon as Cher said, "Gotta love this," I realized I'm so off. Of course, these people are gonna love this. Our audience is sick and twisted and just all kinds of
Just
wrong.
like us.
So that's right.
Yeah,
So of
exactly.
course they're gonna love it. Anyway, so thanks to Steve for joining
Yes,
us.
we love
Thanks
you,
for
honey.
you for
Thank
being
you
here
so
for this
much.
extended edition of the Bob
Yes,
Doyle Show. We will
and-
see you tomorrow for Tech Tuesday.
Ooh, 8
It's gonna
a.m.
be a
Pacific.
good one.
See you soon. Love you guys. Have a good night.